Good friends with Raphael Haynes, Mr. Controversy, the owner of that station, and he runs the social media and talk sports. So great to get you on the show. With you being a true Cleveland Browns fan, and this, I had to get a true Cleveland Browns fan, not somebody that was a Browns fan or sometimes is a Browns fan, but a true Cleveland Browns fans. How you feeling about all of these moves that went down last week?
I'm actually feeling pretty good. Of course, there's always some questionable moves that they did. So, you're always going to say, huh? But there wasn't too many hums this time with the Browns, which is not always the case, as we all know.
Yeah. These moves here, Jarvis Landry, first of all, that was a huge move right there. You end up giving up whoever you gave up, which I'm assuming that was in the trade that you gave up.
It was a 5th rounder from this year and a 7th rounder from next year.
Okay, so that's not that big that you lose on that. Adding Tyrod Taylor, adding Carlos Hyde, getting Demarius Randall, trading Deshaun Kaiser. How did you feel about that? The guy's only been on the team for 1 year, and he's already getting shipped somewhere else.
Well, to be honest with you, when it came down to it, and a lot of us fans talked about it, and of course, just sports people, but I actually took the side of Deshaun Kaiser when it came to the Hugh versus Deshaun kind of saga. I really felt like the Browns should have got rid of Hugh Jackson compared to getting rid of Deshaun. But I have nothing but love for the guy, and I couldn't be more happy for him to land on a team like that and be able to sit and learn behind Aaron Rodgers, if he chooses to stay healthy, that is. But it's a really good spot because Aaron still has a lot left in his tank, and so there's not that pressure of having to get hoisted out there on the field, produce, take a franchise that's just been terrible for years, and then you got to put him on your back. He doesn't have to deal with all that, and I really felt like he got a unfair shake in Cleveland because he had no business starting. Deshaun has talent, but he has talent that needs to be molded and he needs to grow. And let's not forget, the guy's only like 21, 22 years old. So, could you imagine? When I thought about myself at 21, 22, I couldn't imagine, starting an NFL game. Let alone this guy went through a whole entire season, didn't win one time, got benched, got thrown back out there. His coach threw him under the bus. I got nothing but love for Deshaun, and I think that he went to a really, really good place.
Yeah, I agree. Being able to sit behind A-Rod, being able to sit behind, learn, develop, and he was thrown into the fire too early. I think that was very clear that he was thrown in there and go out here and win us some games. With the Cleveland Browns, it's your first year ever. Go out here, win us some games I don't think they had great pieces around him. At this point, with all these trades they made, they got great pieces now, but now they trade him. He goes to Green Bay. I think it's a good spot for him. So there was talks of Demarius Randall possibly moving to safety. I don't know if that's real or was that just rumors. I don't know what you heard about that.
Yeah, so they definitely are moving him to free safety. They're going to move Jabril Peppers down to strong safety where he plays naturally. If you were able, and I was going to say fortunate, but I had to stop myself to watch a Browns game. Greg Williams had Jabril, just way out there. And, if you follow Jabril at all through college, that's not his game. He is a very physical safety, and he likes to be up near the line of scrimmage. So, overall, just a really, really good move to be able to move Randall over to free safety and then move Jabril down to strong safety.
Yeah, and I think that's been a trend as of late, being able to move guys to safety. And a lot of times it's been actually when they were older, they would move them to safety.
Right.
I think if you got somebody versatile, to me, that's the name of the game now. A lot of people aren't drafting a guy that only plays cornerback or only plays safety. They want flexibility.
Right.
And I think that's smart. If you're trying to gear towards the future, that's smart to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually very excited. I just feel like we need to still upgrade our corner position. It's not the strongest. And then also, you know, with losing Joe Hayden, or not losing, I mean, we let him go. But that was a eye roller right there.
Right.
But we don't have the moves that you've seen that John Dorsey did is that he brought in veteran leadership. I mean, 10 of those guys that we brought in, you know, half of them has been to the playoffs or has had some very, you know, they've been in the league for a good little bit, so they can bring some experience to that team. Because I don't know if you knew or not, but the Browns, you know, 70% of the people that were on that roster, 70% of them never won an NFL game before.
Wow, that is crazy. That's the craziest stat I think I ever heard in my life right there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you looked at that quarterback room, you had Deshaun Kaiser, Cody Kessler, Kevin Hogan. These jokers, none of them has won. Cody Kessler never won a game. Of course, Deshaun hadn't. Kevin Hogan, you know, was a no-name nobody that basically made the roster. I mean, so, you know, getting out there and being, you know, not being able to win a game, it wasn't a surprise, especially when I read that. I was just like, well, no duh. Nobody knows how to win anything.
Right, exactly.
You know, and then he was a rookie pretty much too. So, I mean, like, you know, you didn't know how to really win as a head coach. And then, of course, he was trying to be offensive coordinator at the same time. And I just really felt like he was being prideful last season, had a lot on his plate, and just didn't want to really give it up. And then finally, which I think kind of, you know, that's one of the biggest splashes that really nobody's talking about right now, just because everybody's excited about the players. But we were able to establish a really good coaching staff now, where now Hugh can concentrate on head coaching duties. You got an established offensive coordinator in Todd Haley, an established defensive coordinator in Greg Williams. Your front office is solid with Alonzo Highsmith, John Dorsey, Elliott Wolf. I mean, these are some really big, powerful names. And what I was worried about is just that, you know, a lot of times when you get a lot of chiefs in a room, nobody wants to be the Indian. You know, nobody wants to follow. You know, everybody wants to kind of just bark out orders and say, well, my idea is better. But it looks like, you know, everybody is falling in line.
Yeah, and I think that's important. And honestly, like this, I'm gonna be the offensive coordinator. I'm gonna be the head coach. I'm gonna be the GM. All that stuff is for the birds. They need to quit that. Just quit it, okay? You got money. They got plenty of money. These NFL teams got plenty of money. Get an offensive mind in there that you don't have to do everything. Like, if somebody told me I could get paid to be a walk-around head coach and not to have two jobs, being paid for one job, like, come on. Let somebody else, give us somebody else opportunity. So I agree with you right there. And I'm done with these coaches trying to be multiple jobs. Like, just do the job that is best suited for you. Don't try to overstep your boundaries. Don't try to act like you know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. And if you want to win, at some point in time, these people and coaches gotta admit, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, this is too much on my plate. Just be honest. If you're trying to win, be honest.
Right. And you brought up a very good point, talking about the fact that, I mean, just for us normal people that still have regular jobs, you know, I know you big time and everything, so you might not have one of those. But
no, do have one of those. 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
You know, but you know, when my boss comes up to me and says, "Hey, LA, you know, can you do this and do that?" And I'm looking at him like, hold on, you know, this ain't in my job description. You know, nobody wants to really voluntarily do multiple jobs unless you can get compensated as such.
Exactly.
So if I'm sitting up here and I'm paying you this salary to be a head coach, but then you want to be the offensive coordinator, I mean, who's winning here? The owner? Yeah, because they don't got to dish out more money. That's the only person that wins from that type of situation.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only. You're right. You 100% right. That owner is like, oh, you want to do multiple jobs and I can pay you for less? I mean, I can pay you the same money. Go ahead. Don't.
Right.
You don't even have to ask me that, Hugh. You can go ahead and do that. No problem. Like this is the point where I'm scratching my head. Like, do these people want to win? Like the Cowboys, do they want to win, or do they just want to be? They just want to be middle of the road, and they want to be, I think I'm right all the time. Are you really trying to win, or are you just trying to act like you're right and you found this solution to the problem that a lot of people have. So at the end of the day, like, if you need to step aside, if you need to take one job instead of two for the better of the team, why not do that? I guess I'm being, maybe I'm thinking this is I don't know. Maybe I'm making this too complicated, but it seems easy to me to hire one person for one job. You got the money. It's not like y'all cheap or y'all bargain basement shopping. You just signed a bunch of guys. So I'm with you there 100%. And we got a couple of people in the chat room. Let me do a shout out to DJ Knox, Grego the Patriots fan in here, Big L. He said Cowboys winning nothing again. Facts. Don't say that, okay? Because don't worry. Next week I'm about to do a Cowboys rant podcast with two other Cowboys fans. It's gonna be probably embarrassing and funny and witty and everything. So, but let me ask you this: Joe Thomas. Once again, we're talking with LA Broadus, a true Browns fan. Also was part of 3-Point Conversion Station. Are you hurt by Joe Thomas retiring and that leaving a hole in this offensive line?
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't say that I would be a true Browns fan if I wasn't hurt to see Joe Thomas go. I mean, like I said, over 10,000 different career snaps that he took straight before he was, before he had to do anything. It's before any injury, I'm sorry. But to be honest with you, and kind of just talking to other people and then him coming out and actually telling us why, he was looking at having to get his knee replaced. So it wasn't more so about the injury that he sustained during the season. His body was just wearing down. And I mean, and that's no surprise because of how long he played and how he didn't miss any games. I mean, yeah, he didn't go deep into the playoffs or anything, but his body wore down and he played one of the, most important positions in the NFL. I'm just extremely sad because of what he brings to the community of Cleveland. Just an overall great guy. I don't know if you guys had a chance to catch his podcast, but he has a podcast called The Tomahawk Show where he does it with wide receiver Andrew Hawkins. And it's just extremely... Yeah. You did hear about it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to check that out.
It's extremely entertaining. Extremely entertaining. So, he has a great personality, great inside and out. And then even so, one of his replacements was supposed to be Sean Coleman, who was playing on the line as well. They said Joe Thomas, as of yesterday, was still in the facilities working with him to try to train him to replace him. Wow. So, I mean, you can't get any better than that as a person.
Right. I mean, most of the time, a lot of these NFL players, they don't want to train anybody. They're like, I'm not training you. Like Brett Favre looking at Aaron Rodgers like, I'm not training you to take my job. You need to figure it out on your own. So for him to do that, knowing he is retiring, but still, that's time out of your day. Like, you could be recouping. You could be doing a million other things with your day. So, yeah, big ups to Joe Thomas. I'm going to have to definitely check out that podcast. Interesting story. Andrew Hawkins was on a show. Some of you guys may or may not know this. It was called Fourth and Long. It was a show by the playmaker Michael Irvin, and he had a bunch of guys on the show, and they were going to win a spot on the Dallas Cowboys. So the guy that actually won it was Jesse Holley. He does radio here in Dallas now, but Andrew Hawkins was on that show, and I thought he was going to win because he's that slot receiver that everybody's going to nowadays. And he retired recently. I understand his reasons also. And I think a lot of players are going to be retiring, quite honestly, because they don't want to deal with the lingering stuff afterwards. So we like I said, we got an interactive chat room. Big L says, Browns fan, where they do that at?
Well, to be honest with you, there's a lot of Browns. Believe it or not, there's a ton of Browns fans. I ran into them all over the place, so they're not just in Ohio. Now, I didn't have a choice. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just be honest. I didn't have a choice. Okay, I told my dad the other day. I said, why couldn't y'all have met? You and my mom met anywhere else in this world, but you You just had to meet up in Akron, Ohio, you know,